Very good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Vidya.
Good morning.
Yeah, let's, as always, request for 2 minutes and then we can start.
Sure.
I guess we can start now.
Okay. Thank you, Shrikant. Very good morning and good evening from wherever you're joining. So today, in terms of the product updates, we want to give you a few things which have been, probably I think personally I would have wanted it to get released a bit earlier, but these are things which we have been working on, and also, in terms of the infrastructure related issues we had, we wanted to kind of focus on that. Having said that, I think, Basha, you can go to the next slide. We are going to cover these three line items today. First is how are we going to enable the MSPs to sell cybersecurity? I'm sure you all are aware of the boot camp which Ryan is running, but at the same time, we want to be enabling our internal sales team, our distributors, and whoever wants to kind of sell the cybersecurity to have a quick way to kind of see value in this product. So that's something which we have lined up. The second one is the software asset management. So this, the thought process, I'll go a bit deeper once I come to the slides. But overall, if you see many organizations, struggle with the software sprawl, like there are too many licenses, there are version mismatches of the discovered software. Then you have the rising license cost and the audits, which make it very impossible to stay in control, right? So we are kind of, since Connect Secure has the ability to discover the assets, it has the access to the software catalog. We are going to kind of give something called the 360-degree governance loop for software assets, and that's called software asset management, which will come under the asset module, which is something which we have been working on. It's currently under testing, but at the same time, I would probably give October as a timeline where we would release it. And the last one is definitely with patching. There are a lot of feedback which has come in from the team, but I also want to give you a clear update as to how the patching works today, and how we are trying to enable more software to be patched within the system, right? So that's something which we have worked on. Having said that, I hand over to Basha for going over the first few slides, and then I'll come back to the software asset management. And please drop in your questions on chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shrividya. Good morning, good evening, everyone. So the first one being enabling your MSPs and your customers with the pre-sales toolkit. So this is something that can be used as a pre-sales toolkit for your customers. So what does this do? This is a totally separate feature that we are offering, and it can be part of your pre-sales discussion. So basically here we'll be offering 3 different types of scan. That's external network scan, attack surface mapper, and the internal network scan. So this is going to be a quick one. You hand it off to your prospect. They can go select any one of the scan, and they can see the results in no time. So this is how it looks. So here, the prospect needs to enter their details, email, company, the size. This is just for lead generation purpose, and then select which scan they would want to go with. The external scan, if they select, so there's an option to select the address type and the address, if it's a static, a domain, or an IP range. Same goes with attack surface mapper and internal scan. So whichever they select, they get the drop-down menu. For the internal scan, the OS drop-down menu is there, which on selection and starting the scan here. So right now this external scan is selected. So the start external scan button gets enabled. So once all of this is entered, the scan starts. And this is how the results look like. So upon completion of the scan, the result populates, and there are 2 ways by which this result can be accessed. One is by a simple download report that we are giving here. And the second one is the option to send these reports to an email. So this is for external scan results. Now, if you want to go back and do for an internal scan, or if you want to do for attack surface mapper, there is a back to main option here where you can go back, and these is how the results would look like. This is the internal scan results. So basically it gives out your device information, asset information, and the vulnerabilities associated with it. Similarly, for the attack surface mapper also, whichever domain you're scanning, so it comes out with all the scan findings. So this is what we are calling it as the pre-sales toolkit, or the quick scan that you can have a conversation with your prospect or the customer with whom you are going to onboard Connect Secure. So software asset management, Srividya, on you.
Yeah, and just a quick update, like this will be a hosted site by Connect Secure. So you can kind of guide them through this site. And definitely we'll have the details of it once it's done, and then you can work through it, right? So we want to make sure that, again, our internal sales as well as the external, the distributors and folks like that can use it. So having said that, coming to the software asset management, right? So as I mentioned before, every organization is going through a struggle of a lot of the software, a lot of licenses, version mismatches. So the thought process here is today, if you see, starting from the right, where I'm talking about asset discovery. Today, if you see, our agent pretty much scans the devices and the endpoints of all the installed software. We capture the install path, the versions, and when it was discovered. So in terms of with that data, and then the second thing is we have a software catalog. Today, we have a central repo of the software catalog, which is our single source of truth right now. And there we maintain what is the latest version, what is the patch availability, and which vendor is it. So this is the second thing, which basically is, as I said, it's already there. The third thing which we are going to introduce is the license inventory. So what we would want to do is basically the license inventory is something which will have the license details, the purchase dates, the expiry dates. We are going to give you a template around it. So you'll have like a metrics, whether it's going to be a user or a device or a course. And then you can also monitor cost per unit and also department wise. So this is something which we're going to bring a templatized version, and I'll show you how the user interface looks. The next one is the devices and the user context. So definitely we have today, when the agent scans, we have the access to the device and we have the access to the Active Directory once you have enabled it. So you have the devices tab, then you have the users tab. So devices has the hardware details, the cores, OS, and department if you have tagged it. Next, you have the users tab, which is again the software usage tied to the identities. So what we are trying to do is what is installed, where it runs, and who uses it is something which we want to bring out. Once that's done, next is the insights and alerts. So definitely we want to kind of give wherever the mismatch reports are, right? If you're having inconsistent versions between the catalog and the what is there in the discovered software, that's going to come out. And once that's done, the most interesting portion is going to be the compliance and optimization. So we are going to kind of show you as to something called the true up reports, which has the deployed versus the licensed software. Definitely, we are going to show you what is the underused licenses and the overused licenses. And then definitely when you're overused, you prevent cost escalations and also compliance risk, right? So those two things we want to kind of attack. So this is basically, we want to bring in this feature with software asset management. And we named it 360 because it covers all the aspects of how an asset has to be tracked. Having said that, please go to the next slide. So what is expected from our current partners who are using, I'm sure a lot of the partners are using the agent, the assets, and probably even the asset management. The first thing is definitely we want better tagging to be done so that we can do a good job of, giving better reports. So tagging of department roles, which is probably very easy to do with our asset management. That's something which you would expect. We need probably the email so that we know which device is linked to which user, if that's possible. And then the license inventory and cost details. That's what we are going to give is a spreadsheet of a template, because today you would have bought a Microsoft license or Adobe license for a particular cost. So that's something which you would want to maintain it here, or we can pull it from any external system as long as the API is available. So on the right side, you will see this a tab called the software asset management. And then what you see on the right is the software catalog. So the catalog is something which we have the whole catalog which Connect Secure has. And this is our central repo. Go to the next slide. Yeah. So if you see here, there are specific tabs which are going to help you manage this. The first is the catalog. Next to the catalog tab is the license tab, which again we will give you a template so that you can import the software name, the vendor, in case the license key is required, metrics, quantity, and everything. You can maintain it as a one-stop shop, or we can pull it from a third-party system. Again, we want to keep it open and open to feedback. And then the discovered software. That is something which is done by the agent. So today our assets are discovered, so we know what software has been discovered at any point of time. Then we have the devices, which is already present, and then the users. So these are the key places and the key items which we will be covering in each of the steps. Once this is available, the next thing to do is, can you go to the next slide? What we're going to be able to pull up is a compliance report, right? Once all this is set up and the departments are set up, we are going to give reports around how many softwares are used, what is the license cost, what is the true up cost, and where are the optimization potentials. And also in terms of compliance, are you compliant, under licensed, over licensed? All those aspects we'll be able to pull once we are able to know once we have the license data and what is there in the system already, right? So this is something which we want to bring up. Post that one more report which you want to kind of show is, can you go to the next slide? Yeah, we will also show as to what is the available software today, what is the required licenses, what is the gap in licenses, and so each of these items which are shown in the graphical view will also be available in the tabular view. So you will be able to take actions around what you can do with these software licenses. Apart from that, we'll also be able to show you what are the version mismatches, right? So in case Adobe had released, Acrobat has been updated. So if you are not using that, we will be able to show you those version mismatches here, and then you can take action around it. So this is something which we want to bring up, and I think we are fairly because we want to just make sure we are not showing incorrect data, especially in the softwares. We are tweaking a bit of the server-side code, and that will be kind of ready for prime time very soon. So this is something which we are very open to your feedback, because again, this is a thought process which has been discussed within our teams a lot of the months back. But at the same time, I just wanted to show it to you all today, because any feedback is really welcome. So with that, I think the next thing, which was the critical thing, which I wanted to discuss today, is the patching, right? Um, if you remember when we kind of moved from V3 to V4, we rewrote our whole patching engine. Again, it's a homegrown patching engine, which has gone through a lot of updates, and it's fairly working well. Of course, there were gaps at some point of time, but I think looking at the sites which we have worked with over the last 3 months, there have been significant updates and robustness around this module. Having said that, I just want to give an update to the entire partner base that how the patching is working today. So today we have Connect Secure patch repo, which is updated to the vendor patches daily. So that works because that's something which you update daily, manually, and automatically. Once that's done, at any point of time, if there's a patch jobs which our partners have scheduled or our clients have scheduled, that's going to trigger. Now, what's going to happen once the patch job triggers is the agent and the software version validation happens. So agent verifies that the asset is online. If it's online, it's next going to check if the software version is the latest or below the version. So if it's below the version, it's going to update. So that's something which is already there in the system today, and this is we have worked through this. The next portion is what, if you see on the top, the patch download and installation is something which we have refined it. Before it was using PowerShell. So one of the problems with PowerShell was sometimes it was getting blocked by the AVs. So what we have done is moved it to HTTPS as a protocol. And the second thing, which is a significant update, is we are, in case the HTTPS fails and you're not able to find the patch in our repo, the second fallback is going to be Winget, which I think has close to 9,000 plus applications. So we use Winget as our fallback. And with that, what happens is, the success ratios increases. So once we kind of have, we finish patching with Winget, then definitely in the logs, you will be able to see in the patch logs that whether you have used HTTPS on Winget, and you'll be able to see whether the patching went through. So this is our path towards 9,000 plus apps. Of course, we were not at this rate when we were probably just using PowerShell and HTTPS, but with Winget in play, we are close to 9,000 plus. And initially, I think close to Connect Secure was, our repo had like 600 plus applications. So that was where it was. So this is something which I wanted to update our partner base, because Winget is something which we have put 2 weeks back, and now it's live. Okay. With that, I think I've covered the slides for today. Yeah, we can take up the questions on chat. Okay, let me just.
Yeah, I think the first one is with Matt. Where is the software list in the portal? Are you saying the per device view, or is there a centralized way to view all software deployed across endpoints or a given customer?
Yeah, so this will be for the for all your customers. So it'll be a central place. It's not for a per tenant view. It'll be a central global view, so that you can because it has to work for the global view. You cannot do it per tenant. So we want to give the costing and everything against in the global level. So I hope I answered that question, Matt. But if you have a question, I can answer. Just drop me on chat. How many patches are covered by customer? Yeah, Connect Secure is 600, but Winget has much more. See, if it's a paid software, at any point that link doesn't work, right? So it's that's something which we are restricted around. That's not something, and even for the Microsoft apps, it's something which is probably not in our scope. Can you work with ThreatLocker? So ThreatLocker question.
I dropped the link to the ThreatLocker doc in there, Steve. I worked with ThreatLocker a few months back. ThreatLocker has a built-in Cyber CNS agent policy using their standard policies on the ring fencing feature. So if you're using ring fencing in ThreatLocker, you can use the built-in policy to tell it that the Cyber CNS agent is allowed to do its PowerShell commands and do what it needs to patch. So that doc, excuse me, is in the chat.
Ryan, can you help me with this? Do we have a document around where we are we showing the CS patches? Because I think the 600 applications, I'm not sure we are showing it in our documentation.
Yes, we have an Excel file that contains the patch list from the Connect Secure private repository. It's located in the documentation on the patch management guide and patch management docs. Someone from our team can grab that, or I will here momentarily, and post it to the chat.
Yeah, Trent, I'm sure, yeah, everybody would like it to be brandable. As version 1, we first want to host it on the Connect Secure side. And then definitely we'll discuss internally as to whether we can make it brandable as we go along. Thanks for the feedback. I think we covered all the questions. Shrikant, is there anything else more as a patch log?
I think a couple more that from Tim and Matt. You want to address that?
I think
Here.
it's some update. I'll need to confirm this, but Tim, I don't want to give an answer right away. I'll confirm this and get back to you. Is there any other question? Patch log. It's in the Cyber CNS agent folder. You will see a patch log file. Ryan, do you remember the exact name on top of your mind?
Yeah, it is in the Cyber CNS agent folder, and it is patch job logs. It'll be very obvious once you're in that folder where those logs are at. If you have trouble with it, just reach out to our support team. We can help you out, but it should be right inside the program files x86 Cyber CNS agent folder on Windows, or OPT Cyber CNS agent on Linux, or I'm sorry, on Mac.
Awesome. I think we've covered all questions. So if with that, I think we can close. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a great rest of the day. Thanks, Vidya. Thanks, Barsha. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thanks all.
Yeah. Take care. Bye-bye.